have very many rules that I break. I tend to be a rule follower. The thing that I break, and I know that I'm doing it, and I have gotten notes back to stop doing it, but I'm not going to do it, is I will tend to put feelings, like active feelings, into the script versus telling the actor how to act out the feeling. So a lot of people think that action should be all action, right? So instead of saying that the character is disappointed, they will say the character holds her shoulders down, and that's what disappointment looks like. So I'm not saying I don't do that at all, but I only do that if that is that character's way of expression, because I don't want the actor to read it and feel like they have to do this. They don't have to do that. Once they understand who this character is, what does disappointment look like on that character? So I will put those kinds of adjectives and adverbs and like feelings, nouns, but like feelings, so that the actor can understand the emotional through line and then choose to present that, choose to deliver their lines in whichever kind of way. Some people think that that's over directing. Some people think, well, the context is there, so you don't have to do that. The actors can figure it out. And I agree. That's just the way that I like to write. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not going to not do it because that's the way I write. And if somebody reads it and they say, we're not going to make this because there's too many feelings in it, then those aren't the people I'm supposed to be working with. So that is a rule, which is not really a rule, right? It's all subjective. You just got to find producers, executives, whomever that understand your voice and like what you do, right? So I am right now trying to find attachments for the script that I finished last year. And, some people are going to read it and hate it. Some people are going to read it and love it. Some people are going to read it and feel, okay, and that's just life. I don't expect everybody to like it. If it ever gets made, somebody's going to be on the internet saying, this is stupid. This didn't make any sense. I don't understand it. Other people are going to be on the internet going, oh my God, this was so great. It blew my mind. And then the Academy might not say nothing about it. You know what I mean? That's just the industry that we're in. So I understand all the rules and I understand how to work within them. And sometimes I simply just choose to do what I want to do. And the people are going to like it or they're not. But if I do it consistently and make it a rule in my own screenplay, then they'll understand. Like the reason a lot of those rules exist is just like floor plans are floor plans. Blueprints are blueprints. You can't bring something else in the room and say, this is a blueprint. It's like, no, it's not. But the house that you build or sketch out or graph out or whatever the word is, because I don't remember, on those blueprints or how you lay out that floor plan is where the creativity comes from. So a script is like that. It's your blueprint because everybody, all of the crew, all of the department heads, all of the actors, the producers, the executives, everybody needs to be on the same page about how to execute this thing. And so your screenplay tells people that. But if you decide that you want to write scene headings that don't look like scene headings, then now you have all of these people having to question what they're reading. You know what I'm saying? If you decide, well, I'm just not going to put any scene headings, then now you put more work on everybody else. Those are the reasons those rules exist. If you decide, well, I'm just going to triple space all of my action, then you're just going to confuse everybody who has to actually make your movie. But if you decide, they say don't put too many camera angles, but you know what? In my script, I have a lot of them. If you're the director, more power to you. If nobody else has to read that script, if there are no gatekeepers in the middle of it, and it's just you who's going to write and direct the thing, have at it. Do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? But when you get on that set, if you have decided to go against rules like this is how you format things, then now you have confused people who can't do their job to their best ability because they're trying to, figure it out along the way. So learn the rules, break them if you want to, know what those consequences may be, know it might be the thing that makes you exactly who you are, right? Because a lot of the writers that we love, they break rules, but also know that it could be the thing that stands in the way. And you just have to decide which way you want to roll with it, Well, obviously this is subjective, but I'm gonna tell y'all right now, Set It Off is one of the most structurally sound things you will ever watch. I mean, it hits those beats. Boom, boom, boom. And not one moment is fluff. Everything means something. Everything is connected to something. On the TV side, I've liked a lot of shows, but let me think about whether I felt like something was really well written. I think that Raising Kanan is really good. I think that this is showing my age a little bit, but I really enjoyed Brothers and Sisters when I was growing up. I'm trying to think of a TV show I teach from. Scandal is really good to teach from as well. It's really well written. How to Get Away with Murder. Ooh, How to Get Away with Murder is so well done. Severance is getting on my nerves. Are you watching Severance? Do you like it? It's getting on my nerves. Nothing but questions, no answers. They don't know the answers. The writers don't know the answers. Nobody can make me believe that they do. That show is interesting. The main characters are developed well. All of the rest of the characters are underdeveloped. The world is cool and weird. The rules are inconsistent, and all they do is open more holes in the world without filling any of them because they don't know. They don't know the answers. And what's getting me is like, I can understand why the critics enjoy it. I just think that you're not much of a critic if you do not point out the fact that it's an interesting thing and it's, trying to be really smart, but at the same time doesn't seem like it knows where it's going. I think that's fair. You have shown us goats 2 times, once in season 1 and once in season 2, and not one piece of a connecting dot to why they exist and what we're doing with them. And it's just because you think goats are cute yet scary, and then you put a bunch of scary people in there who tend to the goats, and then still didn't connect any dots. There's not one other thing that has happened in the show to make you go, ooh, is that why? Maybe that's why. Like, even if I'm wrong, give me something. They're giving you nothing. The blacklist definitely can give you opportunities. I want you to hear that. I recently was going to put my own script on the blacklist just to see. My concern with the blacklist, once I started reading the rules, is that it is subscription based and rewards you based on the score that you get, which then makes people pay more so that they can try to achieve this score. Howsoever, they're not getting read by the same person each time, which means the score is inconsistent. So for example, you submit your script and reader number 57 is going to read it, and they might give you a 6 and give you all of these notes. You go back, you revise to those notes, come back and resubmit, pay another fee and resubmit. And now it goes to reader number 89, who did not read the first version of your script, did not read the notes that you were given by number 57, and now gives you a whole nother set of notes that could possibly be contradictory to those notes. And they do, and this time you got a 4. So then you go, okay, well, I need to do it again. So then you revise again based on those notes, resubmit and pay again in hopes that you can get an 8 or above, because that's how you end up getting on the list that goes out to everybody. And then, so let's say your third person does give you an 8. But how do you know that that person wouldn't have given you an 8 if they would have been your first reader? Because it's very subjective. You know what I'm saying? And so it just, I don't want to say this and make it concrete and like I know, everything about it, because I don't. I just feel like when I read it, it felt very pyramid scheming now. It didn't used to feel that way. It felt more so about how can we get people to sign up and make them keep paying for something to get something that they may not get. And even if they do reach that number or that score, it doesn't mean that anybody's going to want to read it. Like, it's not a guarantee. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say, do it because it's an option. Like, if you want to do it because it's an option, but just understand what you're signing up for. You know what I'm saying? Understand that you're going to be going back and forth, and you have to pay a fee to host it on the site in the first place, which I'm not saying other places don't do. So again, it's about how you feel about it. And then you have to keep paying for some different person to read it in hopes that you get this score. And then even when you do get that score, it doesn't mean that anybody's going to want to make it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, hey, try it if you want to try it. And if it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, it's okay. Make sure that you are not putting all of your eggs in that basket. Well, you know what? I have if you would have asked me this several years ago, I would have said a different thing. What I'm going to say now is, it takes up a lot of space in your script if you write something in a different language and then also have to write it in English so that the reader can understand it. So that takes up a lot of space in your script, right? If the reader needs to understand it for context, write it in English and then put in the parenthetical in Spanish. That way the actor knows it's in Spanish, the reader knows it's in Spanish, but the reader, who likely will be someone who speaks English, can read it and understand the context. If they don't have to understand the context because it's just something that's kind of being said in the background, or it's something that is simple enough that you can kind of understand the context, then put it in Spanish. That's about leadership and management. And it's not that I can't teach you that, but some of that is about you being a natural born leader, or taking the opportunity to, study, do development, etc. in leadership and management skills. It has absolutely nothing to do with writing. People feel safe because you listen to them. People feel safe because you don't yell at them. People feel safe because their ideas are welcome. People feel safe because you understand their weak spots and you help to develop them and motivate them. People feel safe because you delegate them to do things and you trust them with it and you don't micromanage them. People feel safe because you communicate so they know what they're showing up to do and why and how and when. People don't feel safe when you just throw stuff at them and you just want them to just go with it. Like, people don't feel safe in that. Doesn't mean that they won't do it, because most people will do anything to keep their jobs, even those people who are not working in a writer's room. But people feel safe when you lead, and not lead from, so let's just, keep it funky and take it to like parenting. Your kids don't feel safe in a do as I say, not as I do territory. They just can't say that to you. Your kids feel safe in a lead by example place. Your kids don't feel safe when you're eating a pizza, but they got to eat carrots. And you say, don't worry about what I'm doing, I'm grown. That doesn't teach them to eat carrots. That teaches them that when I'm not around you, I'm going to eat pizza. You see what I'm saying? So the same thing is true in any kind of leadership position. If you lead by example, if you show up on time, if there are consequences for people and you also take those consequences when you don't do your part, then they realize, oh, okay, this person like really cares about me and doesn't see a real hierarchy. Not that hierarchy doesn't exist, but you aren't in your ego and living in that hierarchy. It's not do it because I said so. It's do it because this is what we need for the room in order to do this on time, and this is what the budget is, and this is what explaining, like giving people information makes them feel safe. Hoarding information doesn't make people feel safe. And so what most people don't understand about a showrunner is a manager. A showrunner is doing business far more than they're doing creative, and their job is to be creative. And a lot of people don't understand that. So a lot of people are like, well, it's my show, I want to be the showrunner. You ain't ever been a good leader a day in your life. You don't know how to lead your own household. You were on the cheerleading squad and the cheerleaders wouldn't follow you. Why do you think you're going to be able to lead this writer's room? You have no managerial skills. None whatsoever. And that's a big problem in Hollywood, because a lot of people get in their positions in Hollywood because of their hard skills, writing, directing, whatever. And they're missing all of the soft skills: communication, follow up and follow through, giving information, treating people like human beings, because it's a very stressful environment. There is a lot of money on the line, and that's a big burden to carry. As the showrunner, you're the person who's carrying that burden. You have to make sure that y'all hit the budget. You, not somebody else. You, that's your job, right? So you have all of this on the line. Actors not showing up, actors wanting to change the script, all these things on your shoulders. And your job is to not take it out on the people who are working with you. You know what I'm saying? And most people can't do that. And most people don't care to do it. Most people are not even trying. It takes a lot to make the writer's room a safe space, and it has absolutely nothing to do with writing. It would not make sense to make content that no one is gonna watch. Like, my mother doesn't watch TV the way that I watch TV, right? So I can only assume that people who are teenagers right now don't watch TV the way I watch TV, right? So something's probably gonna change. I don't know if this generation will get into their 30s and suddenly watch TV like we watch TV when they didn't grow up watching TV in that way. So I think something will shift. When? I don't know. The industry doesn't seem to be shifting just yet. Like, they're talking about it. Like, ooh, this is different. Ooh, they don't like that. Ooh. But I haven't heard anything about people wanting to make shorter form content because of it. Because that would be the thing, right? But I also feel like, and this is the good and the bad of it, is that there's so much content. There are way too many streamers. There's already a whole lot of cable channels. And back in the day, all of the cable channels didn't have original content. Not all of them. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like everybody has original content and we just can't keep up with it all. Like the good part of it is that anybody right now at their home right now, if they wanted to make something, they can make it and they can distribute it. Even if that means they can just distribute it on YouTube, or they can put it on TikTok, or they can put it on Amazon themselves, right? Or Tubi. Like those things exist that anybody right now can be like, I want to make something, make it, show it to people, right? But then that creates so much content that, like, I was on live on Instagram and this one person kept asking me if I had seen things and I had never even heard of them, because it just gets lost in the noise. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know what it comes on. I don't even have that streamer, so now I can't even watch it. Not to say that there should be some kind of rule, because we do live in the United States of America, that says that you can't make a new company and start making new content like that. That would be ridiculous. But I also feel like there needs to be a stop, a something. Like, it's just too much. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember, like, when I grew up, TV wasn't even on 24 hours a day. It went off. And they played the national anthem and told you to go to sleep. And now we've gone from TV goes off at a certain time to 24-hour television and sometimes 24-hour original content on thousands of streamers. So, like, we all know of, like, the big ones, but have y'all ever, like, gone into, like, Roku or any of these other little places and looked at all of the different, like, options? Oh my gosh. It's like, it's too much. It's way too many. Less than 30 pages. For most competitions, it needs to be less than 20 to 25. So if you plan to put it in a competition, I would say look at the rules for that competition or film festival first and then write it. If you're just writing to be writing, I would say aim for 20 pages or less. If you plan to make it, just know every page makes it that much more expensive. It definitely needs to be under 30 pages. I would lean towards 20, but even if it's 25 pages, those extra 5 pages are going to cost you a lot of money. There is no best story structure for TV. There is story structure for the format of TV that you are writing. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, are you writing a full story and the scope of it is just happening in 20 pages? Because if so, then you still have 3-act structure. You're just doing it in 20 pages. What some people do for short films is they just write a scene. If you're writing a scene, then it's not going to be 20 pages long. But it's a scene from a larger thing because it's a proof of concept. Whiplash did a proof of concept of just the scene of the guy on the drums with the really neurotic teacher. And then that became the film. So sometimes people will do that. Sometimes, again, if they're doing a proof of concept, so that means they already have an idea of something longer they want to make, they'll do something that's like trailer style, where it's just like quick moments that connect enough so that we understand. Like, don't make a trailer and like the people make trailers these days where you watch the trailer, you have no idea what the movie is about. Don't do that. The point is to give me moments that help me to understand what the larger piece is about. But if you're just going to do something that kind of stands alone and it is a full story, then you need to have 3-act structure in 20 pages. If you are going to produce it yourself and then just look for distribution, then write all the episodes, because you have to write all the episodes in order to produce all of the episodes. If your intention is to pitch it, you only need the pilot. You will waste your time writing the other ones. You don't waste your time from learning, because you're going to learn the more you write. So I don't mean it that way. Like, it's not a waste of time because you're learning, but it's a waste of time as in the production company is never going to say, send us the rest of the episodes. Now, in your pitch deck, you can talk about what the ideas are for those other episodes, like make log lines for all of those episodes, but they're not going to look at those scripts. Why? Because whoever it is that you sell it to is going to want to put their stamp on it, which means they're going to rewrite that pilot. They're going to hire a showrunner who will not be you. And then they will get a writing staff together, and together you will figure out what the rest of the show is. So, PSA to everybody who's listening. If you're writing a TV show that you do not plan to produce yourself, only write the pilot. You do not need to write not one other episode. I hope that frees up people. Now, if you get the funding, absolutely produce it yourself, and then you can just get it distributed wherever you want to distribute it. Well, not wherever, but, to the places that actually license content like that. Amazon license content like that. and you can always do your own YouTube page and put it up there, you know, and start and build your own audience. And then once you've built your own audience, you still have something that's worth talking to the studios about. You know what I'm saying?
And that's it. Want more content? Like, subscribe, and for notifications. Get notes on your script that get you unstuck at www.theprofessionalpen.com. I'm out.